3 days. That's all the time she gave me to pack up and leave the only home I'd ever known. My name is Walter Brennan, 71 years old. I've lived in this quiet Colorado Springs neighborhood for 35 years. Raised my daughter Emily here. Held my wife Ruth as she slipped away in our bedroom 8 months ago after a brutal fight with lung cancer. But according to my son-in-law Marcus, none of that history mattered anymore. Because Emily, he said, was gone too, dead in a hiking accident up in Estes Park. Except I'd just seen her post a picture from Costa Rica 2 days ago, smiling next to a waterfall with some guy I'd never met. Marcus thought he had the perfect mark. A broken-hearted old man, foggy with grief, ripe for the taking. He staged a memorial service, collected sympathy checks from half the block, and started pressuring me to sign over my $2.8 million nest egg for Emily's final expenses and your future care. What he didn't know was that I spent 32 years as a senior fraud examiner for the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, and for the last 4 months, every single word out of his mouth had been recorded. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're from. This is the true story of how I dismantled the coldest, most calculated inheritance scam I've ever encountered, and why you should never underestimate a father who's already lost everything else. Let's go back to the beginning. April 3rd, 2024, the day Ruth finally let go. 45 years of marriage gone in a heartbeat. The hospital bills had wiped out $220,000 of our savings, but I'd have paid 10 times that for one more morning of her burnt toast and terrible coffee. The house turned into a museum of silence after the funeral. Emily flew in from Portland with Marcus in tow. They'd been married 4 years. I barely knew him. Tech sales, always on his phone, always talking about wealth preservation strategies. "Walter, you can't rattle around in this big house alone," he said one afternoon, standing in my kitchen like he belonged there. "I'm doing all right." "Are you?" He picked up the stack of unopened mail on the counter. "Some of these bills are 3 weeks old." First warning bell. How did he even know my mail was there? But grief is a hell of a drug. Everything felt impossible. Insurance forms, condolence casseroles, the simple act of breathing. Marcus offered to help sort things out. Said family takes care of family. I let him. That night I found him in Ruth's little home office, photographing bank statements, the will, the life insurance policy. "Just getting everything organized, Walt. You've got a lot here." He wasn't wrong, and he was definitely counting. Over the next weeks, his visits became daily. Always concerned, always helpful. "You repeated the same story about Ruth's rose garden twice today, Walter. Have you seen a doctor about your memory?" He started bringing brochures for assisted living places, beautiful campuses. "Walter, no stairs, people to cook for you." He'd be in Ruth's office again when I thought he'd left, filing papers in case something happens to you. And he always talked about Emily in the vaguest possible terms: work stress, money troubles. But every time I asked to talk to her directly, there was an excuse. "She's swamped, Walter. She doesn't want to upset you." Then the strange charges started appearing. New credit cards I never applied for. Calls from wealth managers I'd never contacted. Marcus always had a smooth answer. "I was just reviewing your portfolio. At your age, you need to be in safer investments." One morning in July, he left a durable power of attorney on my kitchen table like it was the grocery list. "Just a precaution," he said, pouring coffee like he owned the place. "If you have a fall or a stroke, someone needs to be able to pay bills and handle things fast. Emily's too far away." The document gave him total control. Every account, every deed, every decision. I stared at it and felt something shift inside me. The fog lifted just enough for the old instincts to kick in. That night I pulled every financial record I had, spread them across the dining table, and did what I used to do for a living: followed the money. $2.8 million in Vanguard. $60,000 in a local credit union. The house worth $940,000. Ruth's $300,000. Life insurance payout still untouched. Almost $4.3 million total. And in the margins of several statements, Marcus's handwriting. Account numbers, balances, even my online banking passwords. He knew exactly what I was worth, and he'd been planning this since the day Ruth died. The next morning, he showed up with a revised power of attorney. My estate attorney tightened the language, he said with a smile. "Better protection for you." The new version let him sell the house, liquidate investments, and move money anywhere he wanted, immediately. I told him I needed time to think. His smile flickered. Of course. But Walter, time is something people your age don't have in abundance. Family has to stick together. That afternoon, I made the call I should have made months earlier. Ray, it's Walt Brennan. I think someone's trying to clean me out. Detective Ray Costello. And I had worked more fraud cases together than I could count. He listened to the whole story without saying a word. Then finally, Walt, this is textbook predatory elder abuse. Sophisticated as hell. Start recording everything, and whatever you do, don't sign a damn thing. That night, Marcus brought lasagna from Ruth's favorite place on Academy Boulevard. I've been too blunt, he said, dishing it out. Emily's situation is worse than I let on. She owes some very serious people money. Dangerous people. If we don't get her liquid cash fast. He let the threat hang in the air. I asked questions he couldn't answer. Names, amounts, documentation. The mask slipped. For the first time, I saw the real Marcus. Cold, calculating. Furious that the old man wasn't folding fast enough. 2 days later, I met Ray's private investigator, Carla Ruiz, ex-DEA, scary smart. After I laid it all out, she leaned back and said, "Your son-in-law didn't invent this game. Walt. He's just really good at it. If he's this polished with you, he's done it before." Carla went to work. Financial surveillance, deep background. And most importantly, finding Emily, because I hadn't actually spoken to my daughter in person since the funeral. The bombshell came 10 days later. Carla slid a photograph across my kitchen table. Emily. Alive. Laughing on a beach in Costa Rica. Arm around a man I'd never seen. Timestamp, yesterday. Hotel records showed she'd been there 7 weeks under a variation of her name. And the man. A 29-year-old yoga instructor who thought Emily was single and recently divorced. Marcus didn't know she was alive and happy. He thought she was either missing or that he could make her disappear, long enough to inherit everything as the grieving widower. 3 days after that, Marcus showed up at my door in a black suit, eyes red-rimmed, holding a manila folder. "Walter, there's been an accident." He sat down heavily. Estes Park rock slide on the trail. They didn't find her in time. He slid a death certificate across the table. Emily Brennan, age 38. Cause of death, massive blunt force trauma. It looked real. It wasn't. He had already scheduled the memorial service for Saturday at Grace Lutheran, already written the obituary, already started a GoFundMe. Help Walter Brennan lay his only child to rest and manage mounting medical debt from his late wife's illness. By Friday night, the campaign had raised $18,000. Saturday morning, the church was packed. Neighbors, old co-workers, Ruth's garden club friends, everyone, ready to say goodbye to a daughter who was sipping coffee on a veranda in Central America. Marcus took the pulpit for the eulogy. Emily loved her father more than anything, he said, voice breaking on cue. She worried about him being alone. That's when Ray Costello walked down the center aisle with 2 uniformed officers. "Mr. Reed," Ray announced, loud enough for the whole sanctuary to hear. "Step away from the microphone." Marcus froze. "You're under arrest for fraud, forgery, identity theft, and attempted theft from an elder." Ray held up the fake death certificate. "Because the woman you